Now we move from the 600 horsepower Pro Lights to the 900 horsepower Pro 2s.
Here we got a little bit of situation that happened to us down in the first round. We see Ari Leyendijk taking a hard spill, going end over end, side over side, lands back on his wheels, and we watch from the in-car, his steering shaft shears off. That's why his steering wheel came off. He broke his collarbone in this, knocked the net down, but he was okay to come back a little bit later. Here we see it broken, go into surgery, put some screws, some plates. He was back out in another week.
And here we are in round number 1. Chad Hord taking the win in that Boss Snowplow number 9. Round 2, CJ Greaves gets the win.
Round 3, once again, CJ Greaves. And wait a minute, what happens in round 4?
It's Groundhog Day.
CJ Greaves once again. So the dominant driver when it comes to wins is CJ Greaves. But that guy you see on the left with the Boss Snowplow is the current point leader because he's been on the box every weekend.
Chad Hord, always a major force to be reckoned with in Pro 2-wheel drive, which is coming up next. Welcome back, everyone, to TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. This is the throwdown in the UP, Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The Pro 2-wheel drives on the track. You're taking a look there at the monster Toyota of CJ Greaves, who had previously won 3 in a row. Well, that streak ended yesterday.
Yesterday, the other Kincaid, Jeff Kincaid, you see right here, Jeff coming in the inside, a little bit of a rough pass. So was this retaliation? Comes in and they both go bam, right in the wall. You see Chad Hord going around taking the lead, but CJ Greaves comes around and still finishes strong.
So Chad Hord would get the win in that Pro 2 race yesterday. But not so lucky for CJ Greaves with that little bit of what they call rough racing out here.
Yeah, and that's part of it. That's the great thing about the TORC Off-Road Racing Championship is that these are fiberglass bodies. They're designed so when we have contact, they come apart. If they were steel like NASCAR, they might hold on and impel a driver. Here, they peel like a banana.
Ready to go green. You see the blue and white truck. That is Jarrett Johnson. The white number 91 of Nick Tyree next to him because the top 4 inverted from our qualifying rounds.
On the inside left, you see those 2 cones. Anywhere in there's a starting zone, and Jarrett Johnson takes the green.
Green flag for our Pro 2-wheel drive here in Bark River, and a great start for Jarrett Johnson.
He's got that Husqvarna Chevrolet out front, pulls about a 3 truck length lead. Tyree doing good, but the guys all seem like they'd be playing a little more polite at this point.
And CJ Greaves leaning there on the gunk truck of Ari Leyendijk Jr. And 3 wide there, Leyendijk, Steve Barlow, and Chad Hord. Looks like they all got through safely.
Steve Barlow getting pushed back, and I got to give that man some props. Did really well yesterday. Was sick, dealing with bronchitis, but he had that Caterpillar Ford up front and ended up on the podium in 3rd place.
So in front right now is still Jarrett Johnson over Nick Tyree, and then the hard-charging CJ Greaves right behind them.
The track, you can see they did not water it that well. They didn't throw water down on the inside because to make it too slick. So right now the track is coming in very, very fast. But Nick Tyree, very impressive at this point.
So you'll see there the black areas of the track. That is where the rubber literally has been laid down from these trucks. If they add water on there, it just becomes like an ice rink.
It is glass. You are exactly right. So here we see CJ Greaves looking up the inside. He actually, Tyree looked like he was trying to open up the outside, but CJ just threw it right in there. Back a second, and Tyree seems to be making a comeback.
And right behind Nick Tyree, the red Boss Snowplow truck of Chad Hord is taking a look. He wants to move through to 3rd. CJ Greaves making a move now on Jarrett Johnson.
Yeah, CJ looking to the inside. Jarrett has the position on him, but CJ seems to pull right by, but the inside is open up for Jarrett.
He just couldn't hold that. CJ Greaves with Such great and aggressive ability and a lot of power under the hood of that Toyota.
But also, you got to remember, CJ just got out of a pro light, so he knows exactly what this dirt is doing. Tess, that's the key to racing off-road, is knowing what the dirt's doing underneath you. And this guy, CJ Greaves, was out in front.
Oh!
Chad Hord goes over hard.
Catches the inside of the turn there and goes over. So Chad Hord, who won yesterday and was our points leader coming in here.
Right now, you see the fuel coming out. Now, what that fire, what it was as he's going to start it, is dumping out the excess fuel, and then that burns and fires it up, and he keeps it going. But definitely shaking.
And you could hear the crowd here at Bark River cheering for Chad Hord. So he's going to have to limp that truck off the course. He will have a chance to take that into the pits and try and get the thing running again.
It's a full Courcelles, but look at the left front, how it's pushing it way up in the air. So something is bent, probably a shock inside. So we take another look. He comes around. As he goes to hook, it starts to get sideways. He comes up and he grabs a hold of that tire, throws him right up and over. He steers into it, and see how it's really hard, and it lands, bam, right on that wheel. And so what it does is it wedges the suspension up. So I think Chad with a bent or a broken shock.
And it looked like he was almost going to make it around there, and he just clips that tire on the inside, and that's what kicks the left-hand side of Chad Hord's Boss snowplow truck up in the air, and he goes for a ride, and I got a feeling they're not going to be able to get him right back into this competition. So Pro two-wheel drive are on course, full course yellow right now. More racing when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. This is the throwdown in the UP. Our Pro 2s are on track, but without Chad Hord, our current points leader, who had a big flip coming through the end of round one, lap one, now leading them out, CJ Greaves.
CJ with a great hole shot, getting out in front, using the cushion. Because right now, the track is pretty neutral. You know, they bladed it around. They brought the dirt from the outside back in. So right now, the track is a very raceable track. And we see Jared Johnson in second, Nick Tyree, and then Steve Barlow in the Cat Ford.
And really interesting that Johnson and Tyree have managed to hang on to those places they got. Jared Johnson was in pole position. Steve Barlow, in the Cat machine, is chasing them down.
Yeah, Steve Barlow did great, as we said earlier. He got on the box yesterday, so Steve Barlow, a great desert racer, great Pro 4 racer in the past, and now back in it in Pro 2.
So Barlow goes by. He's followed by Jeff Kincaid, but still, CJ Greaves leading this one out and starting to put a little bit of distance on himself and Jarrett Johnson.
It's funny, you watch those back wheels, when you talk about cats moving dirt, normally it's with a big blade, but Steve Barlow using a lot with his right throttle foot. Steve Barlow to the outside, and here Tyree back to the inside, and with Kincaid looking on the right.
So everyone looking for different lines here. Kincaid managed to take that outside line. He's now challenging Steve Barlow, trying to get a line on the inside.
But it's given Jarrett Johnson a little bit of time to move. So right now, Kincaid looking on the inside and makes the move and makes that pass stick.
So there, Jeff Kincaid making the move. He will now try to chase down Jarrett Johnson. Meanwhile, CJ Greaves still pulling away from this pack in the lead.
Steve Barlow still looking strong in that Cat machine, trying to hang on to Jeff Kincaid. We see Jarrett Johnson actually very impressed with him. Jarrett was struggling a little bit earlier this weekend, but now seems to have that Husqvarna Chevrolet figured out right now.
So at the start of the race, we saw Chad Hord take a wild ride, and he is out of the race right now. For an update on him, let's go to Tony Bachhoven.
Thanks, guys. Luke Fleming, crew for Chad Hord. What's your assessment of Chad's truck?
It looks like it tore the shocks apart on the truck and broke the limiter strap, so it basically pulled the A-arms down and bent them, tore the shocks apart, so now they're just all collapsed.
We kind of had a feeling that it happened.
Yeah.
You did claim
That's
that.
a tough deal. They might have to clip the front of that truck. You know, a lot of times they'll say, you hear in stock car racing, oh, they have to clip it. And that means where they cut it off right behind the front, right in front of the cab. But right now, Jeff Kincaid making a power move on the outside of Jarrett Johnson, right around the outside.
Absolutely fantastic power move there.
Yes, very strong. Which we saw Jeff You know, Jeff is one of those guys this year and in the past year that the sort of checkers or wreckers, meaning that he's not doing anything stupid, but he's either out in front killing everybody or he's had some bad luck like he did yesterday. So I can't wait for this yellow flag to bring those two back together so they can finish this race out like they did yesterday.
CJ Greaves leading out our pro two-wheel drive race here at Bark River. Those monstrous 900 horsepower machines, and well, monsters make a lot of noise. How much noise? Let's check out the MagnaFlow sound of torque. Just love the sound of these machines. Jeff Kincaid currently in second place, put a little bit of distance between himself and Jarrett Johnson.
Yeah, right now, Jeff, I love what he's doing. He's moving around, trying a lot of different stuff. I don't think he's working so hard on trying to catch CJ at this point, but just trying to find the fastest line. This guy has won so many championships. Him and CJ's father, Johnny, were teammates for many, many years back in the Toyota days back in Pro Light. But right now, Jeff is looking for different lines, so when they bring them back together, he can go after CJ.
So at the end of this lap, we will have a full course yellow, a competition caution, brings all of these trucks back together, nose to tail, before a restart. So that is some smart racing from Jeff Kincaid, testing this track out so we can try and find a way around CJ Greaves.
Yep, and then as you can see, you can side load these tires a lot harder. Jeff's running Cooper. You know, there's a lot of different brands out there, BFG, Nitto, Maxxis, you know, but this is a short course specific tire. So they groove 90% of the grooves, and they all have their own patterns how they like.
There's Jarrett Johnson coming through in third, followed closely by Steve Barlow. Johnson really is hanging on well here.
Well, I've known Jarrett pretty much his whole life. You know, I grew up with Gary, his father, and known Jimmy and them. And Jarrett is one of those racers that is gritty. He's not afraid to get dirty, work on his vehicles. So he's one of those guys that when he's out on the track, he leaves it all on the track.
So coming through to the competition caution, CJ Greaves leading our pro two-wheel drive race here in Bark River. And there you see the yellow and red flying at once. That means they will all gather up nose to tail before we come through to the restart. Kincaid comes through.
See Mike Jenkins making a move right at the end. We see a little bit of steam coming out of Ari Leyendijk's radiator in the back. So is that a problem? But Mike Jenkins trying to do some work right before that competition yellow. So coming in on Nick Tyree, three-way battle. And it looks like Tyree, Leyendijk, and then Jenkins.
Well, you've seen a lot of thrills and spills in TORC racing so far, but these trucks are designed incredibly well and incredibly safely. And for more on that, let's check in with Tony Bachhoven.
At the first round of the TORC season in Primm, Nevada, Ari Leyendijk Jr. flipped his Pro two-wheel drive truck 4 times. As a result of those violent flips, the steering column sheared off and his left arm flew out the window when the window net failed. After surgery to fix a broken collarbone, Ari decided to make a change to the safety features inside of the truck. And Ari, from my standpoint, it looks like the biggest change is the seat. Take us through what you did there.
Yeah, the first thing I did after Primm was improve the seat. I felt like that was the biggest thing that led to my injury. So I went to LaJoy, and the Joy seating made the seat for me. What's really cool about it, it's molded to my body. So as you can see, without these belts, I can't even move in here. And another really cool factor is this head surround. So the head surround prevents me from lifting my arms up in the air when I am flipping, if the steering column were to break again, and it gives me a place to rest my head if something were to go wrong, if the truck were into a barrel roll like it was in Primm. So I think for me, if I would have had this seat in the truck, I definitely wouldn't have 8 screws in my collarbone.
Well, not everyone in the TORC series has converted to a full containment seat like Ari Leyendijk Jr. Two-time Pro 4 champion Johnny Greaves runs a seat much different than Ari's. And Johnny, you don't have that apparatus around your head. Tell us about your seat a little bit.
Yeah, this is what's called a hard shell seat. You know, it's a prototype by a Mastercraft Safety, and you know, it doesn't wrap around your head. I'm still having a little bit of a problem adapting to that, because you kind of get this, you know, where your head bops back and forth in there and you know, rattles your brain a little bit. So I'm kind of an old school guy. I've been around where we used to run seats with not even a headrest, you know. So I still like to be able to move around and you know, see things. And you know, when Mark Jenkins lands in my window, I like my head to do that once in a while. So keeps me limber.
Lots of differences in safety inside of these trucks, from seats to head and neck restraints to safety belts. It's always changing.
Thanks, Tony, and that's why these guys can go for such a wild ride and then just wander on out of the truck. Going green again here in our Pro two-wheel drive. CJ Greaves over Jeff Kincaid, and then Jarrett Johnson in third. Here we go, coming to the green flag at Bark River.
Little juke side to side, and you notice CJ lined him up to the far right, so it didn't give him an opening on the inside.
Oh, Kincaid was trying to find a line around there, but again, CJ Greaves got the jump on the rest of the field.
So far, everything looking really smooth. Guys falling in line, and a little bit of racing in the back. Tyree and Jenkins going after it head to head. Here they come side by side. Looks like Jenkins is going to get the run around the outside.
And Ari Leindijk also worked his way past Tyree, so Leindijk has now moved up another position. Interesting to see, though, the design of that seat, the comparison between his and Johnny Greaves.
Yeah, it is. And as Johnny said, he is old school. He runs his belts a little looser than the other guys. He likes to feel it. He's a little bit more like when he rode a motorcycle. You know, kind of lets, you know, doesn't have his elbows up too high, but he does let it hang out. So here we're watching Jarrett Johnson in the Husqvarna Chevrolet. Actually, a very, very impressive run with him. And right behind him is Steve Barlow, and now we see Ari Leindijk. But back to that piece. How awesome was Ari Leindijk's hair in that truck?
And one of the most amazing things, if you had a freeze frame, you'd actually see this picture of Ari holding his steering wheel against the roof of that truck. I mean, the thing just sheared off. Yeah. But the only injury being that collarbone, it just is a real testament to the safety of these trucks and how hard they work on those safety designs to keep our drivers in good shape. And wow, Jenkins off track there.
Jenkins off track. When they say off the throttle, off the gas, off the track, off the gas. And he did a great job, because sometimes there's cables there, there's safety workers. You got to think about them first. So great job.
Or tires, as Chad Hord found earlier.
You can find a tire up here in the UP, and next thing you know, you're on your lid there. But right now, great race for third and fourth place. Jarrett Johnson and also Steve Barlow in that Cat machine going out. And this is awesome. That's what I love about these races, because we can only show you so much. But when you come to one of these things live, there is racing happening everywhere. So if you've never been to a live event, you got to get out here.
So you can see how they're working these corners in the hard stuff and the soft stuff. It really is important to get the tires right. Let's check in with Tony for more on that.
Well, you know, you guys just spoke about the different patterns of the tires. Here's a look at a couple of these Maxxis tires. Here's one that's not been on the track yet. There's one grooving style, a big, thick lug, then a short one. If you take a look at this one that's been, they've used it once already, but several different little lugs. So I would ask RJ, with the track starting to dry out like this, Ricky, which one of these patterns do you prefer? Well,
actually, what you're looking at, Tony, the one with your hand on it on the bottom, it's got the circumference grooves, those ones that go all the way around. That helps the driver turn. The one that's stacked up on top has a paddle groove, because you need drive going forward. Don't want to interrupt the race, but here it comes.
Wow.
Jeff Kincaid, unbelievable move on CJ Greaves, and now Jeff Kincaid takes the lead.
I guess he made the right tire choice today when he got up. So Jeff Kincaid making the move in our Pro two-wheel drive race against CJ Greaves, who looked like he was just going to run away with this thing.
Exactly, but Jeff Kincaid running very, very strong. As I said, you can never count this guy out. He's won so many championships, and right now he's on a high because his son just won the Pro Light race. So right now, Jeff Kincaid is the man on the move.
So this could be a great weekend for the Kincaid family. Look at that, he started down in 8th position, and we saw him before that competition caution working the track, trying to find out where it was going to give him grip, where he was losing it, and then he just bided his time after CJ started caught him, passed him.
Yeah, but watch CJ Greaves. This kid's no dummy. He's watching right now and seeing where Jeff made the move on him. So we still have a lot of racing left. The cool thing about this racing series is here we got two completely different tire brands. They give them a spec. This is how they don't tell them how many plies or how many cords it needs to be, but this is the size of the tire. And you have a Cooper out front right now and a Maxxis in second. So everybody doing their own thing, and now off-road, they can run sideways, they can groove them paddles or circumference grooves, whatever they need.
And also a 30-year age difference between Jeff Kincaid, who's 49 in the lead, and CJ Greaves, a 19-year-old behind, and CJ now is coming on the charge.
Yeah, I told you, that kid is a sharp kid. You know, he and I had our differences in the past, but I gotta love him as a racer. He's very, very strong. So right now, I wouldn't pick a winner right now because they're both so fast and so strong, but it got physical yesterday, so let's see what happens.
Well, we saw CJ penalized yesterday for the rough driving, as it was described, and again, it was kind of a marginal call. Did he really punt him that hard, or was he just trying to race his way through?
Well, in the Pro Light, he did lean on him a little bit hard. And what they look at is once you get into somebody, if it's one-time contact and you spin them around, or if you get into them and you had an opportunity to roll out of the gas, and CJ did not when it came to the Pro Light penalty. But in Pro 2, they were both leaning on each other back and forth, so tempers flare, and I'm definitely one of those drivers that someone leans on you, you have to lean back. I'm sorry, penalty or not. If you whack me, I'm coming after you.
So Jeff Kincaid managed to pull out a little bit more of a lead on CJ Greaves, but Greaves going to take a look again.
What I love about short course off-road racing, especially the TORC series, is that it's pounds per cubic inch. So you hear some of the trucks rev really high, like the Toyotas with Johnny Greaves and CJ Greaves. Also, you hear Kincaid's truck rev pretty high. These guys like to run lighter trucks with a smaller displacement, but they're still getting tons of horsepower out of the vehicles. But with a lower, 410, 390, 420, you have to rev it more to get the horsepower out of it, where some guys are running 460s, 436s, and stuff like that, where it's more like a tractor and it pulls.
And you really can hear those machines screaming as they come over the line. The white flag flies. This is the final lap of our Pro two-wheel drive race here at Bark River.
And this is what you live for as a racer, even being out front or the one right behind, is that you want to battle to the finish line. So right now, Jeff Kincaid has done this so many times, and now CJ, even though he's a young kid, he's a veteran. He's won lots of races, and he's very, very fast. So do not count him out until that checkered flag falls. But right there, Jeff Kincaid a little bit faster through the S's.
So the local Jeff Kincaid in that number 4 Traxxas machine trying to hold off the 19-year-old CJ Greaves in that black and green Mazda Toyota. Oh!
He swaps side to side through the rhythm section, or actually the unrhythm section, and now he gets back on it, and gets back on the horse and pulls a three-length lead.
And here we go, Kincaid really trying to hang on here through these last few laps. Unbelievable how much they can punish those tires, and they still seem to hang on.
What I love about Jeff is that he didn't go full protective mode. He didn't go to the inside and try to block. He's going as fast as he can, using the cushion as much as he can, going as fast as
he's going for the win.
Exactly. He's not blocking for the win. I love this when two racers put it all on the line, and that's exactly what happened.
And here we go across the finish line. Jeff Kincaid takes the win over CJ Greaves. Fantastic racing in Pro two-wheel drive. We'll check in with Jeff Kincaid when we come back.